Holman. Holman, I'd ask you to come up. Give everybody on the committee just a chance to look over the peer committee, just wherever you'd like, where you can get a microphone. You'll let everybody look over the peer reports. And then while they're doing that, I'll let you tell us a little bit about yourself, what your vision for the Stewardship Trust Fund is, what y'all been doing, where you see that going. Okay. Okay.
First off, thanks for having us today. My name is David Hallman. I live in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. Got a wife and 2 kids. My wife works at the University of Southern Mississippi. She teaches nursing. I have a son that's a junior in college, a daughter that's a freshman at Ole Miss. And, you know, I've hunted and fished my entire life. Got a passion for outdoors. I've raised my kids outdoors. I want to make sure that it's around for a long time. My kids, my grandkids, we hopefully have some. And that's, you know, we've been working hard on this committee. We've got a lot more applications than we thought. Some really great applications. We're greatly oversubscribed. And I never realized what a need there was out there until we got all of these applications in and see how good they are. And to be honest with you, I wish we could fund them all.
Thank you for your willingness to serve. First of all, I know this has been a learning process as y'all have been going. I know y'all have been kind of building the fire on this, as it has went through the process. With that, is there any questions of the committee? Okay. So with that, like I said, I do appreciate your willingness to serve. And with that, is there a motion on the committee?
Motion to advise and consent.
Motion is that we do advise and consent. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. You go to the Senate floor now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we'll call up Mr. Drew St. John. We'll give the committee time to look over the peer report. Mr. St. John, just kind of the same process. If you would tell us a little bit about yourself, where you see this.
Name's Drew St. John. Married Kathy Morton from Brookhaven, Mississippi. Born and raised here. Originally from Hattiesburg. I've lived in Madison, Mississippi for the last 3 years. I'm sorry, 15 years. And I was thinking of my kids. I have 3 kids. 2 that live here in Madison and 1 that teaches school up in New Albany. I have been an avid, not only hunter and fisherman. I've got a place down in Pass Christian, and we fish offshore and inshore down there. And then I also have a place up in Isola that I duck hunt and deer hunt. And so it's been a big part of my life and a big part of my family's life. We gather outdoors and do things together. My dad died when I was 10 years old. I was pretty much raised with my grandfather, and he grew up on the Caney Fork River in Nashville, Tennessee, and really taught me how to hunt and fish and respect the land and serve, and, you know, don't shoot something you're not going to eat, different things like that. So I was really honored to be invited to join as a trustee. Every meeting, we've got kind of a clean piece of paper. We're figuring it out as we go along, but you've got 7 really dedicated people that have done a great job. I think we just finished our 16th trustee meeting. If I kept up, we've been meeting every week up until now, and some great projects out there. And I just can't be more excited for the state of Mississippi, because a lot of these are wonderful projects that have matching funds that are coming from outside the state. And from the first time that I saw how Georgia was set up, where they invested $90 million and done $230 million in projects for the state, I just thought this is a no-brainer for Mississippi, and I'm just proud to be able to be involved.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. And I appreciate your willingness to serve as well. The attention to detail. So with that, is there any questions of the committee?
I do, Mr. Chairman. I think
Senator
this is
McCollum,
probably the
you're
time-
recognized.
it's time for me to ask these questions. And all members that are going to be coming up, I would ask this question. Everybody's had a great, in fishing. As a senator here, I've always expressed, and the chairman knows this, even whenever you mention the Georgia plan, I express a concern about adding too many acres or too many thousands of acres from different counties into a governmental entity position and all the tax rolls. All I ask, and this is going to be my question, is that as you consider these projects, there may be tweaks to the formula from our side, but just remember, and I ask you to remember, that these counties have to be funded somehow. And if we take 20,000 acres off Scott County and put off the tax rolls, it's going to increase the burden on the farmers and the landholders around them. So as you continue to work through this, and I tell every one of you here, I would like you to remember that, because just because someone lives in Madison County, it's not good to go take 20,000 acres off the tax rolls in the Delta when somebody's got to make up that. We have to have county government. It has to be funded somehow. So as you do that, I just ask that you consider that as you go forward and consider the projects.
Absolutely. Thank you for that input, because it should be a consideration.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you making that point. I just want to take light to it that is why there was language put into the bill last year when it was being written. Well, it's been written 2 years, but last year when it was passed, and I put that language in there for a specific reason. I hold that same point. Senator Sparks, come to you, and I'll come to you next, Senator Younger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here today. And this question would probably apply for everybody. I'm not going to re-ask it for everybody, but if anybody wants to comment on it. The same concerns with Senator McCon. Obviously, you've got a tax issue, but the second issue, one of the toughest things we had in the negotiations, because we met with the Georgia people last year, and they talked about a lot of things that out of the gate for us might not be the right path, which is why we ended up with several versions of this bill, and why there were so many restrictions on who could be on the board to stay away from those conflicts. But there was also criteria, and I'm sure you're familiar with it, but I was pulling out the bill just to make sure, is that the priority list, if you will, appeared to be state parks, outdoor recreation, the acquisition and improvement of parks and trails by communities and municipalities that lie within those counties and municipalities, restoration enhancement projects with public waters and lands. Way down at the end was acquisition. Has there been a lot of discussion as you have met with the board about different projects that you're looking at, that priority list is actually going to be applied?
I think we are applying it as we're scoring projects right now before the 98 that we have. And, there's no acquisition potential in the bill until 2024.
Correct.
So all those get kicked out. There's only been a handful
Because
that had an acquisition, but we set up our scoring system based on.
because I'm learning just ending up a freshman term of all of the different possible sources of revenue, federal, state, local. I love the match potential, double, tripling our money. We've got sidewalk projects that we're seeing funded through, federal dollars for health and all that. A lot of our smaller communities, some places still have these RCDCs from back after World War II, and they've got a walking trail and they've got something that's nature facilitated and healthy, et cetera. And they have small amounts of money that would help them dramatically, but it may be one that has a 6-to-1 match on the criteria when you guys see it. So are we also advertising or getting that information out to the smallest units of government that they know that this fund is available to them?
Obviously, the word's getting out because we went from 20 applications to over 100 in about a 30 or 40-day period. Can we do more to get the word out and that sort of thing? Absolutely. I think there's great opportunity. This is a new program that people are learning about every day, and I think when we start to fund the first group of projects and you actually see things happening, it's just gonna gain momentum.
And I agree with you. And I think that especially when we see the multiplier that, hey, we put this much money in there, we had this much impact and we hit this many different regions.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Senator Younger.
Yes, glad you, thank you for coming in today and thank you for your service. Absolutely. Do you have any idea how much total public hunting land we have in Mississippi?
I don't. I would hate to guess, but it's,
It's close to 2 million
I bet it's a lot of acres.
with, with federal and state. And, I'm like Senator McCon, I'm a landowner and I try to share my land with different people. And letting them hunt or fish. And I think it's really important that our youth is recognized first on this hunting and stuff, And we've got pretty good game where I live. They try to, and I've always told them, I said, look, when somebody's young and they get caught violating some of the laws, give them a warning,
Don't discourage.
yeah, that's right. Don't discourage. And I think that's one thing that we need to focus on. And we also don't need to forget that who feeds the wildlife more than anybody. And that's the farmer and the ranch.
No question.
I appreciate your service. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And also, one thing that I do want to point out, there was a piece in the peer report that you saw about the derogatory information. It was dealing with the license. That has been satisfied. Coleman took
Yes.
care of that problem. So we got that issue, it's St. John, excuse me. St. John got that issue taken care of. One thing that I did notice, it says that you have not filed a statement of economic interest. I'm going to ask you to do that going forward. You may not have known that you had to do that, but that is a requirement. So just very, very simple to do. Go ahead and take care of that. With that, are there any other questions, committee? Promotion. Motion to do advise consent. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we'll call Mr. Maloney. Mr. Maloney, kind of the same process. If you just have a seat, give us a little bit of background information, tell us about yourself, what you see with the Stewardship Trust Fund going forward. Just give us a little bit of information as we review the peer package.
Sure. My name's Colin Maloney from Tupelo, Mississippi. I'm in the construction business. We have an office here in Jackson. Spend a lot of time down here. I would say not only am I a hunter, I'm also a conservationist and really involved in outdoor activities, which is also a part of this funding source. We have a great group of committee members that I work with, excited about. And I share most of their ideas.
So with that, are there any questions of the committee? Senator McMahon, I know you came to speak on behalf of Mr. Maloney at this time. I'll recognize you to do so.
Thank you so much. Just wanted to share, I know Mr. Colin Maloney personally. He's a businessman. Does business really across the entire southeast United States, projects all over. But he's also a very charitable man. He's a man very involved in the community, supports multiple charities. He is an avid hunter, but he's also a conservationist, believes that we should conserve natural resources and use them in a way that they're there for the next generations. And I would ask the committee to fully support him. Thank you.
Thank you. Once again, are there any questions in the committee?
We all let me off easy.
Motion. Motion is we do advise and consent. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That carries. Next, I believe we have. Oh, and we do realize that you need to file statement of economic interest as well. We'll make that point out. So if you would just fill that out. Statement of economic interest.
It's, you can do it online. I think it's all online.
It's all online.
We can,
They'll come knocking on your door.
Oh, good.
I believe we have Mr. Cloyd on Zoom. Mr. Cloyd. Mr. Cloyd, if you can hear us, would you unmute? Mr. Cloyd. Give him a second, see if we can't get him on the phone to remedy this. Mr. Cloyd, can you hear us? Mr. Cloyd. Mr. Cloyd, can you hear us?
What kind of scam were you in, Joe?
He our last chair, he our last person. Is anybody else in the building? Okay.
Mr. Thompson? Any word from him?
Yeah. The chairman is struggling to leave the house of the driveway.
I tell you what, we're gonna have to have another meeting, and we have some other committee meetings that some of the members have to get to. So we're just gonna come back with the knowledge that we have to come back at another date. So at this point, I'll entertain a motion.
Rise and report.
Motion to rise and report. All in favor?
Oh, hey. The responsibility of the others there.